Welcome to Melanated Moments with Erica, a sacred space curated with guided meditation and impartations for your journey as a melanated woman pursuing wellness in the present moment and beyond. Join Erica St. Bernard, a licensed marriage and family therapist, as together you build capacity for curious exploration that inspires wellness in ways that amplify authentic living. Allow melanated moments to be a part of your holistic journey to be well, live well, and love well.
Greetings, melanated woman. Welcome back to Melanated Moments. I'm Erica St. Bernard, and I'm so glad you are here. I invite you to join me for a moment of sacred pause and breath. Before we get started, grab your journaling tools of preference so you can note your experience. I'll be here when you return, in case you need to pause the audio. Welcome back. I'd like to invite you to settle into your space and allow your body to soften as you feel the chair supporting you. You might press the soles of your feet onto the floor or wiggle your toes as you choose to rest one hand on your chest and the other on your belly, or rest both hands on your lap or allow them to fall by your sides. I invite you to make yourself comfortable wherever you are as you choose to close your eyes or soften your gaze as you lower your eyes to the floor. I invite you to notice your breath. Bring your attention to your inhale and exhale. Simply notice what happens when you turn your attention to your breath. Take a few more natural breaths. Now, I invite you to join me in a series of deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose and hold for a count of 4. 3, 2, 1. Then exhale through your mouth longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Once more, inhale deeply through your nose, what you'd like to receive. And hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then exhale fully what you'd like to release. Today's episode is for a very specific woman. She is married. Her husband is physically present. They share a home, a bed, possibly children, and a life on paper. And yet she feels profoundly alone. Not alone because he's absent. Alone because something between them feels disconnected. Like they're living parallel lives that occasionally intersect, but rarely truly meet. If that's you, I want you to know something before we go any further. What you're feeling is real. It has a name, and you are not alone in feeling it. Loneliness in marriage is one of the most isolating experiences a woman can have, because from the outside, everything looks fine. You have a husband, you have a family. What do you have to be lonely about? Today, we're going to talk about just that. Let me start with what God designed marriage to be. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 says, "The Lord God said, 'It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him.'" The Hebrew word translated helper here is azar. It is the same word that is used elsewhere in Scripture to describe God as our helper. This isn't a subordinate role. It's a powerful and essential partnership. God's design for marriage was never mere cohabitation. It was profound companionship. Two people who truly love one another, see each other, and journey together. The sacred text from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 9 and 10 read, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up." The picture here is two people who are actually present with and for each other, available, attentive, not just occupying the same space, but genuinely connected. Mark chapter 10, verse 9 reads, "Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate." Here's what I want you and I to remember. Disconnection within a marriage is a form of separation. No, it's not legal, but it's emotional and even spiritual. God's design was for the two to become one, for them to be joined, not just in ceremony, but in an authentic, mutually beneficial, and ongoing connection. Loneliness in marriage isn't just a relational problem. It's often a signal that something God designed for connection has drifted. Let me name what this loneliness can look like, because it doesn't always announce itself. You have conversations, but not connection. You talk about schedules, kids, finances, logistics, but you can't remember the last time you talked about something that actually mattered to you. Your dreams, your fears, your inner world. You feel unseen. He's in the room, but he's not even looking at you, not noticing when something's wrong, not curious about what you're thinking or feeling, or even who you're becoming. You've stopped sharing. At some point, you stopped bringing things to him because the response was dismissive, distracted, or absent. So you started processing everything alone, or maybe with friends. Physical intimacy feels disconnected from emotional intimacy. There can be physical closeness and sexy time without emotional closeness, and that gap can make existing intimacy feel hollow or even more isolating. When the connection has slipped, you grieve the marriage you thought you'd have. There's a version of this partnership that you imagined, and the distance between that vision and your current reality is its own kind of loss. Let's explore why this happens. Emotional disconnection in marriage rarely happens all at once. It often develops over time through accumulated patterns, such as unaddressed conflict. When issues don't get resolved, they don't disappear. They create distance. Each unresolved conversation becomes a small wall that builds over time between the two. Life stage pressure, careers, children, finances, caregiving, the current dumpster fire state of the union, the demands of life can crowd out the intentional investment that connection requires. Emotional unavailability. Sometimes one or both partners carry wounds, stress, or patterns that make genuine emotional presence difficult. Communication patterns that create distance. The Gottman's note: criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling. These patterns erode connection over time until two people who love each other feel like strangers. Losing sight of each other as individuals. In marriage, it's easy to start relating to each other primarily through roles: spouse, parent, provider, and the loss of sight of the full, complex, ever-evolving person you married. The unspoken assumption that connection should be automatic. Marriage does not, I repeat, marriage does not maintain itself. Connection requires ongoing, intentional investment. If any of these resonate for you, I want you to hear this. Recognizing the loneliness and the factors that fuel it is not disloyalty to your marriage. It's the first honest step towards something better, something different. So, what do you do when you recognize this loneliness? How do you move forward toward the connection God designed? Step 1, name it for yourself first. Before you can address it with your husband, it's good for you to be honest with yourself about what you're experiencing. You might use journaling as a tool or strategy, prayer, therapy. Each of these create a different type of space where you can get clear about what you're actually feeling and what you really need. Step 2, name it to God. Bring your loneliness to God before bringing it to your husband. Not to replace the conversation you need to have, but to ground yourself in God's perspective on your marriage and your worth before you engage. Step 3, identify what connection looks like for you in this season. What would make you feel less lonely? More quality time, deeper conversations, being asked about your inner world. Understanding what you're actually hungering for helps you communicate that need more clearly. Step 4, have the conversation. This is probably the most vulnerable step. Telling your husband, I've been feeling lonely, even though we're here together, requires courage. But it also creates an opening that silence never could. Consider using language like, I miss us. I want us to feel more connected. Can we talk about that? Step 5, invite rather than accuse. The loneliness might make you want to say something like, you never pay me any attention. Try instead, I'd love it if we could carve out time to really talk. I miss feeling close to you. Invitation draws people in, while accusation pushes them away. Step 6, create intentional connection rituals. These might include daily check-in points, weekly date times, day or night, questions that go deeper than logistics. Connection does not happen by accident in busy marriages. It requires intention, structure, and scheduling. Step 7, seek support. Individual and or couples therapy is not a last resort. It's a wise investment. A skilled therapist can help you both identify the patterns creating distance and help you build new ones that create connection. And for those of you who feel like you've tried and nothing works, I see you. Sometimes loneliness in marriage requires more than conversation. It requires a real reckoning with what's sustainable and what you need. That's a conversation worth having with a therapist who can help you hold that complexity and process through it. If you're single and listening, this episode is hopefully equipping you to choose and build connection intentionally from the beginning. Ask early and often, does this person show genuine curiosity about my inner world? Things that are not obvious on appearance. Can we have real conversations, not just surface ones? Do I feel seen and known by this person? Are we building connection or are we just keeping each other company? Be intentional about choosing someone who makes you feel less alone, not more. This week, I invite you to reflect on these questions. Where in your marriage do you feel most disconnected? What would feeling truly connected look like for you? What's one honest conversation you've been putting off? What support do you need to move toward the connection God designed for you and for your marriage? Beloved, loneliness in marriage is not our destiny. God designed marriage for connection, real, deep, sustaining connection. And while we cannot create that alone, you can take the first honest step toward it. You deserve to feel known. You deserve to feel seen. You deserve a marriage where presence and connection are closely aligned. For my Maryland residents seeking individual and/or couple support for relationship challenges, visit the link in the show notes to schedule a therapy consultation. For my global community, particularly Black Christian wives wanting to rediscover themselves and experience deeper connection in their marriage, visit the link in the show notes to learn more about sacred authenticity. And don't forget to join our Melanated Moments community for sacred Sunday messages that arrive in your inbox each week with encouragement for your journey. And if you prefer to watch rather than listen, Melanated Moments is now available on YouTube. You can find us at youtube.com/@Erica St. Bernard YLW. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a visual Melanated moment. All these links will be in the show notes. The connection you're longing for is worth fighting for, and so are you. Be well, live well, love well.
Thank you for listening to Melanated Moments with Erica. This podcast is brought to you by Your Life's Well, leaders in individual, marriage, and family therapy since 2017. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our show on Apple or Spotify. To stay up to date with Melanated Moments, follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Your Life's Well, or visit us at yourlifeswell.com. Stay tuned for our next episode of Melanated Moments with Erica. Until then, we invite you to stay well, live well, and be well.